It's week 7 NFL review time. Are you ready? I hope you're ready because I put in a lot of effort into this video. And honestly, you are all I have left. So please don't disappoint me. The video begins right after this. Before I begin, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, DraftKings Pick 6. Well, everybody, we are officially deep into football season. It's been a month. I hope you've all enjoyed the games. I know I have. And guess what? DraftKings is here to make your experience even better. Don't believe me? Well, listen to this. Customers can ride the upside with DraftKings Pick 6. Every new DraftKings Pick 6 customer can play just $5 on their first pick set and get $50 in bonus picks. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app right now and use my promo code Barry to get in on the action. If you're still unsure about what DraftKings Pick 6 entails, let me show you. It's very simple. All you have to do is pick whether or not you think a player is going to get more of a particular stat or less of a particular stat in any given game, like receiving yards, rushing yards, touchdowns, passing yards, you name it. DraftKings Pick 6 has it. So what are you waiting for? New DraftKings Pick 6 customers play just $5 on your first pick set and get $50 in bonus picks. And don't forget to sign up using my promo code Barry only at DraftKings Pick 6. Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh. In the battle of two geriatric Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers came out firing early on, but Joe Flacco said, you know what? I have a Super Bowl MVP myself, and he responded to make it 10-7. Then Rodgers threw an amazing arm punt, which led to Joe Flacco throwing his second touchdown of the game to give the Bengals a lead. Then Rodgers had probably the least responsible interception any quarterback has ever thrown when DK Metcalf, I mean, what's the point of lifting all those weights and having all those muscles if you're going to get bitched like this with the ball? Anyway, fast forward now, late in the third quarter, 20-10. Rodgers, look at this fucking pass, man. This guy's unbelievable. Best quarterback, better than Tom Brady for sure. Flacco said, Tom Brady? Never heard of her, as he responded with another touchdown of his own to give the Bengals a 10-point lead early in the fourth quarter. This game was over, surely, right? Well, not so fast, my friend, because Rodgers threw another touchdown pass to make it 27-24. Here we see Jamar Chase dropping a pass, and Joe Flacco's face basically says it all. This is the face that I make when I walk in on my wife having sex with another man, and that might be a little bit too specific, but I don't care. After a couple punts, Rodgers got the ball back with 2.5 minutes left, and he threw an absolutely insane touchdown pass to Pat Freiermuth to go up by 1 point. But god damn it, this is Aaron Rodgers, and you already know what's going to happen. His defense is going to completely waste his clutch performance by giving up a long, time-consuming drive that ends with a field goal as time expired. Or did it? Because Rodgers would still, at the age of 41, almost 42, would launch a 70-yard pass in the air that might have actually been caught if DK Metcalf didn't give the worst effort imaginable. LA Rams versus the Jaguars. All the Brits must think Matthew Stafford is the greatest quarterback in NFL history after this performance. I mean, really, the entire time he was just goofing around, and why not? It's the fucking Jaguars. They suck. And while Stafford seems to be building a Hall of Fame case for himself, so is Davante Adams, who now has 109 career touchdown catches. Is he as good as Devin Hester, though? Oh, who am I to say? This guy, Cam Little, he really is pissing me off, and I'm not even a Jaguars fan. This guy hits a 70-yarder in the preseason, gets all the fucking publicity in the press. Oh, look at me, I can kick the ball so far. And now he can't make any field goals, which unsurprisingly ended with his opponent scoring to make it a 21-0 game. This game was never close. The Jaguars went for fourth down a couple times and a couple possessions in a row. Never got any of them. I understand Trevor Lawrence is not a great quarterback by any means, but Jesus, it would help if his receivers weren't born with feet for hands. After Stafford had the most casual 40-yard bomb on a 4th and 1 that he just drops in the bucket to go up 28-0, Travis Hunter finally got his first career touchdown. Good for Travis Hunter, but it was ultimately meaningless, just like life. Stafford ended up throwing 5 touchdowns on the day to improve the Rams to 5-2, while the Jaguars are, well, the Jaguars. When we send teams over to London, we're not sending our best, folks. Panthers versus Jets. This game was just as bad as you would expect. 4th and 1, didn't do a tush push, got stopped. Wow, that's so weird. Oh wait, here's another field goal to make it 3-3. The fact that I'm skipping so far into this game and there's basically no scoring just tells you all you need to know. Xavier Legette scored another touchdown. Justin Fields for the Hail Mary. Nope, he gets sacked because he is a complete moron with no IQ. Panthers went up by 10 early in the third. Justin Fields got benched, and then Tyrod Taylor still collecting them checks even after he almost got assassinated by the Chargers doctor through a interception in the end zone. The Jets, of course, still at the end of the game had multiple drives with a chance to potentially tie or win win, but Tyrod threw an interception to J.C. Horn, son of famous cell phone user Joe Horn. And then, with under 2 minutes left, down 7, deep in their own territory, the Jets, with 3 timeouts, decided to punt the ball instead of going for it, which I had no idea. And then Andy Dalton, who is basically Ryan Fitzpatrick with red hair, threw a deep pass to seal the game to give the Panthers a forgettable and disgusting 13-6 win, while the Jets fall to 0-7. I am so thankful I'm not a fan of either of these franchises. Chiefs versus Raiders. By God, if I told you that Patrick Mahomes was playing Geno Smith, you would never guess which team would win. Here we see Rashee Rice actually finishing a drive for once. That's called improvement and maturity, folks. Geno Smith had 67 passing yards on the day, and the Raiders didn't even have the ball for 20 minutes. This was about as bad as you could possibly have of a performance, to be honest with you. And Mahomes, meanwhile, had another great game. He might be in line to win his 3rd MVP if things keep going well, which is crazy because he's only been a starter for 8 years, and the guy he's always called better than him had 3 MVPs in 21 years. I'm just saying. Either way, this was a completely forgettable game, except for the fact that Kenny Pickett also got some screen time at the very end, and in typical Kenny Pickett fashion, he threw the ball short of the sticks on 3rd and 3. Browns versus Dolphins. Great play call here by Kevin Stefanski. Not sure why he doesn't call it more often. I mean, really, the fact that the Dolphins head coaches are still employed after this game is truly nothing short of a miracle. The entire team looks completely lost and defeated. They got their asses kicked by the Cleveland Browns in 2025. And Tua, I said in my preseason video that he was an above average quarterback. I apologize, folks. That is on me. I overrated him very badly. He nearly threw 2 pick sixes. The whole Dolphins just look lifeless. Then we have Tua throwing another interception. How bad is it for the Dolphins right now? They're basically looking to Quinn Ewers to be their next franchise quarterback. By God, that is vomit-inducing. Patriots versus the Tits. Good Lord, stop what you're doing right now. Cam Ward made a great play in non-garbage time, but unfortunately for our Tennessee brethren, that was about as good as it got, as Drake, it's gonna be May, threw a touchdown to Austin Hooper, who also scored a touchdown in Super Bowl 51 when the Falcons blew a 28-3 lead. I don't know if you guys forgot that, but either way, I haven't forgotten. May, even though the Patriots are playing a Special Olympics schedule, you have to admit he and the rest of them look a lot more improved than they were under Gerard Mayo. This is the 2nd week in a row now where Cam Ward, the ball has just fucking slipped out of his hands and it's easily returned for a touchdown. Again, I'm just saying, not expecting you to be a great player, not expecting you to win rings and MVPs and shit, but god damn it, if you can't even play as well as Will Levis, then it might be time for some very serious conversations in Tennessee. Chicago versus Nolans. Gosh darn it, Caleb, you're not supposed to throw interceptions like this. But it doesn't matter. Every fucking week I do this goddamn video, and every fucking week Blake Groupie misses a field goal. I swear to God, how is this guy still employed? And honestly, after this week, I don't know how Spencer Rattler is still employed. He was complete dog shit in this one, and honestly, this game was never particularly close. I apologize, folks, that this week of games hasn't been exciting so far, but I mean, there's really just not a lot of competition here. 4th and 1, oh my God, they could have done the tush push, and they didn't do it, and they got stopped. Wow, ban the tush push right now. This is how a fucking man throws the football. Spencer Rattler, if he did this every possession, he'd be the greatest player in sports history, but unfortunately for the Saints and their fans, he only played well really on 2 drives all game, and that made it, I guess, somewhat competitive for a second, but then Rattler went back to throwing terrible interceptions, and the Bears kicked another field goal to reach the final of 26-14. The Bears are 4-2, but they're the Bears, so it really doesn't even matter that they're 4-2. I don't think anybody's afraid to play the Bears. Colts versus Chargers. One of the things Daniel Jones has improved on a lot is being able to hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor. But Jones has also inexplicably somehow become one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and it makes zero fucking sense because this guy was complete elephant shit for 6 years in New York. I know what I saw, and I'm not just saying this as an Eagles fan. Meanwhile, Justin Herbert continues to throw interceptions and lose games, but that's okay because he's 6'6" and his highlight reel is really awesome, and he's going out with some hot piece of ass with big boobs. Oh no, but then here comes Herbert. I'm just gonna stat pad a little bit, down 20. Oh, you think you're so slick? Whatever Jonathan Taylor said, you know what? I'm gonna stat pad up double digits because that's ethical stat padding right there. More stat padding by Justin Herbert. This just makes me want to vomit. And then Taylor again says, I'm not going to let you successfully stat pad. If the Atlanta Falcons could have just fucking done this in the Super Bowl versus the Patriots, my life would be a lot better right now. There was no scoring, even though the final score was a lot of points. There was no scoring in the final 13-40 of this game, and it ended with Herbert fittingly throwing a pass short of the sticks on 4th and 27. You've already thrown 2 interceptions, right? You're going to lose the game. It's 4th and 27. What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose by throwing a Hail Mary in this situation? It makes no sense to me, but whatever. What do I know? I'm just a YouTuber. Packers versus Cardinals. No, your eyes are not deceiving you, folks. The fact that this quickly into the clip, I'm near the end of the first half before we finally get a good pass, which ended with Trey McBride, son of lesbians, catching a touchdown to go up by 10. Oh, but wait, no, I was wrong. They actually kicked a 61-yard field goal attempt in the final 7 seconds. Does that give Bills fans PTSD at all? I wonder if it does. Anyway, so here's Brissett. He fumbles the ball. Micah Parsons, booty warrior, had a great game, as you would expect. And Josh Jacobs, who is quite possibly the safest driver ever come out of the University of Alabama besides Henry Ruggs, scored a touchdown to tie it at 13. Then Brissett had another great pass to Marvin Harrison Jr., which eventually led to another Cardinals touchdown by the guy with 2 lesbians for moms. But the Packers tied the game up at 20. Key play of the game, fast forward midway through the fourth. The Cardinals up 3, 4th and 1. And they actually did try the tush push, but it didn't work. Oh my God, does that mean that the tush push isn't actually automatic and cheating? Because not everybody can do it, and yet all you motherfuckers constantly bitch about it. I'm sorry for ranting. Anyway, the Packers went up 27-3, and then, God, if the end zones were just about 5 feet longer, the Cardinals would have won this game because the Hail Mary attempt was actually completed, but it was out of bounds. Look at that. The Cardinals have lost 3 straight games after leading by 7 entering the fourth quarter. Literally no team has done that before in NFL history. Congratulations, Arizona. You are the least clutch team to ever exist, but you're also lucky because nobody gives a fuck about you because you're Arizona, and nobody gives a shit about Arizona. If you were in New York or however, this would be a much bigger deal. Dallas versus Washington. These are the games Dak Prescott lives for. Low leverage afternoon games versus a shitty opponent. But it's still funny when Javonte Williams got tackled in the end zone for a safety to make it 7-2 in the bottom of the first inning. And then Jaden Daniels had some nice throws for a little bit. It looked like this might be a competitive game, but it quickly spiraled in the wrong direction. You can remove the Commanders from Dan Snyder, but you can't take the Dan Snyder out of the Commanders, is what I've always said. I told you all Commanders were going to be a massive regression candidate, and oh no, you're just a hater. Nope, I was 1,000% correct as usual, but nobody gives me my respect because my name is a penis joke, really. Here we see Jaden Griffin III getting hurt and fumbling the ball away, and before you know it, boop, the Cowboys were up 40-15 after Mark Ass Mariota threw a pick 6, and really after that, the rest of the game was just a waste of time. So 44-22, congrats to both of these teams. None of you matter in the big picture. The New Jersey Midgets versus the Denver O.J. Simpsons. This game began like a wet dream for the Giants, going up quickly 13-0, but then they missed the extra point. Surely that won't be relevant later on, right? And then the Broncos decide to throw a screen pass on 4th and goal. Why are you doing that? Before you know it, the Giants were up 19-0 at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and then Bo Nix, I guess, decided to suddenly turn into Josh Allen with all these deflected touchdown passes and 2-point conversions. I mean, this is fucking crazy shit. But then it literally happened to the Broncos, who were honoring Demaryius Thomas on this day. I don't know what to say about this game. This is so fucking hilarious. The fact that the Giants were up by 18 points with 5 minutes left, and they ended up losing the game, spoiler alert, and they made Bo Nix look like the greatest player of all time. Jackson Fart threw an interception. Before you knew it, the Giants were up only by 3, and then the Broncos again quickly, Bo Nix turned into Tebow for a touchdown run. But then on 4th and 19, Dart actually answered the call, and the Giants actually scored a touchdown to go up with 35 seconds left, but their kicker missed his second extra point of the game, and if he had just made those 2 extra points, are we sure this guy's name isn't Steven Gostkowski? Anyway, so then Bo Nix made a couple great throws. Again, I still have no idea whether he's actually good or not, but this is what the Giants fans and your stupid fucking idiotic fan base deserves. You guys had your fucking Super Bowl last week against the Eagles, right? And normally I don't really bother yelling or talking shit to Giants fans because it's basically like beating up on a kid in a wheelchair, but god damn it, this is what you fucking deserve. You gave up 33 points in the fourth quarter. You are the fucking scum of the fucking earth. I hope those 10 days between you beating the Eagles and this fucking meltdown, I hope it was worth it. I really do. 49ers versus Falcons. I'm gonna be upfront with you guys. I was fucking passed out, bombed when this game was on TV, so I didn't see any of this game. It seemed like it was pretty forgettable and boring, except for I'll have her home by 8 o'clock, sir. Christian McCaffrey having a huge day at fantasy. God, I'm so happy for all you fantasy owners who had Christian McCaffrey after last year's disappointment. You guys deserve it so much. You're just such great people. Michael Penix had a pretty mediocre game, while Mac Jones basically did the bare minimum, and the 49ers won anyway. This game will be forgotten, although I do believe if the 49ers live up to their full potential, they have the the ability to lose to the Eagles in the playoffs once again. Lions versus Buccaneers. Oh, look at me. I'm Jared Goff, and I have a super hot wife, and I can throw to wide open receivers. Yeah, good for you, pal. In my opinion, the Buccaneers were so focused on beating Goff that they forgot how to play offense in this game. Meanwhile, Jahmyr Gibbs is having the career a lot of people thought Reggie Bush would have. Baker Mayfield, a game to forget, really. And I mean, but look at this fucking kicker striking a pose after missing a 54-yard field goal attempt. Look, kickers, we already don't really respect you, but if you're gonna do shit like this, then you basically have no chance. Anyways, yeah, like I said, this game was just very sloppy. It always felt like the Buccaneers were going to eventually close the deal, and they did, I guess, for a minute or two, 14-9, but the Lions just played a little less shitty. That's the best way to describe this game. Both teams didn't play their best, despite the records and despite it being a primetime game, but a very forgettable game, a very disappointing game. I'm very disappointed in every single member of this game, and that's something they're going to have to live with for the rest of their lives. Seattle versus Houston. Sam Darnold once again dropping dimes. I guess he's going to win MVP now. That's just the way it is. I mean, goddamn, this is a great throw to Cooper Kupp, and then another elite throw. Where the hell was this for his first 6 or 7 years? I don't know what the hell is going on this year. All the bad quarterbacks are good now. And you know what? When you have a quarterback playing as well as Sam Darnold, maybe don't let anybody else throw the fucking ball like you do with Cooper Kupp here. Cooper Kupp is good for catching the ball, not for passing it. The Texans somehow kicked 2 field goals in the final 2 minutes to make it a 14-6 game at halftime, but CJ Stroud, who continues to get a pass for being disappointing once again, was unable to get anything going, but still his defense kept him in the game after they strip sacked Darnold in the end zone and recovered it for a touchdown. It was 20-12 on 4th and 1. You run the ball. I mean, you already know what I'm going to say. And look, I'm sorry to keep saying it, but it's not my fault that the situation keeps coming up and other teams don't capitalize on it. But you know who did capitalize on it? The Seahawks, because they turned it into a touchdown to go up by 15, and then Stroud on 4th and 15 couldn't get it going. The entire fourth quarter, Darnold tried his best to keep the Texans in the game, throwing a couple interceptions, and Stroud eventually got a touchdown pass to make it an 8-point game, but that's all it would be. There was no win for the Texans. Congrats to the Seahawks on having the most wins on Monday night of all time. But also, fuck the Seahawks for giving Tom Brady another ring by not giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch. I'm not mad. Finally, the game you've all been waiting for. That's right. My Eagles versus the Vikings. This is how you do a fucking tush push right here. 4th and 1, you push that guy's ass and you get him over the yellow line. That's football and not homoerotic at all. Jalen Hurts, a guy who can't win on the road without a bunch of help. Here he is throwing the ball deep downfield. Remember that stat about how he couldn't throw 10 yards downfield? You won't be hearing about that stat this week. And anyway, here's Carson Wentz. He will always be an Eagle. Once an Eagle, always an Eagle. This is his first touchdown pass to Philadelphia since 2020. And he also threw another terrible interception. But again, JJ McCarthy has the world's longest ankle injury, which is really just him being benched, a soft benching because he sucks and the Vikings don't want to admit it. But either way, look at this fucking throw by Jalen Hurts. I mean, gee, this is so fucking incredible. A deep bomb to Devonta Smith, and then the Vikings scored a touchdown to make it a 5-point game for a bit. And Jalen Hurts was just dropping his nuts all over the Vikings, who were an elite pass defense. Unfortunately, Jake Elliott, I'm going to give him a pass here because he's helped us win 2 Super Bowls, but you're on my naughty list, mister. This was one of the big underrated moments of the game, is when the Eagles defense was able to stop the Vikings offense and hold them to a field goal. And then in 3rd and 13, Jalen Hurts said, Kevin Patullo, get the fuck out of here. I'm going to call my own plays. And he threw a touchdown to A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts had a perfect fucking passer rating, averaged over 14 yards per attempt, and the Eagles win. The Eagles are now 5-2, which is the same exact record after 7 games that they had last year. Now, for Christ's sake, if we can only get the running game going, we'll be all set. Fly, Eagles, fly. Kiss my ass, haters.